Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including why the Model Y refresh may be a disappointment, Tesla's $10,000 to $15,000 off right now, Tesla's latest recall, and more. So let's get into it, and a special thanks to MagBak for sponsoring a portion of this video. First up today, we're approaching the end of a quarter and the end of a year for Tesla, and as such, they have a lot of incentives going on to drive current vehicle sales. Part of these incentives are likely driven by the fact that many people are aware that they are refreshing the Model Y come next year. That refresh should bring a lot of improvements to that car, but for some people, they may want to take advantage of deals that are available now, or maybe they don't want to see things like the removal of stocks on the next generation of Model Y. In any case, if you play your cards right and stack up a lot of different things, you could save a ton of money on a Tesla purchase. First up is obvious, the federal EV tax credit of $7,500. That is available for a lot of qualified buyers today, and there's a lot of speculation that sometime come 2025 that may disappear. On top of that are state-specific tax credits or credits of some kind for buying an electric vehicle, and then ones provided by your city or utility. For instance, when I first bought my Tesla, I got $1,000 from my power company. So all of that stuff is absolutely worth looking into and could save you some money or get you a rebate back after you buy your car. But the next one is a pretty big one, and that's 0% APR for 60 months on the Model Y. Tesla is also offering this for a smaller loan term for the Model 3, but for the Model Y, this is a pretty big deal because this can save you up to $8,000 over the course of ownership. When you compare that to what interest rates are at around the industry right now, it's very impressive and will save you a lot of money and lower that monthly payment down. You do have to put 20% down to qualify for this, but if you qualify for the tax credit, that really just takes care of that right there. In a quick calculation, Tesla had this putting me at $581 a month for a Model Y rear-wheel drive, which gets 337 miles of range. On top of that, they do have other deals available if you need to spread this out longer. For instance, you can get 1.99% APR for 72 months. That, of course, will charge you interest throughout those months, but it's a much better deal than 5 or 6% interest rates that we've seen. Next up is a discount for inventory vehicles. For the Model Y, I'm seeing inventory vehicles in my area available $1,000 to about $1,500 off. That already is a decent savings, especially since these are just inventory vehicles. There's nothing different about buying a new one in one of these. It just happens to be sitting at the lot. Then Tesla also sells demo vehicles, and you can really find some gems in here that may be totally worth it. There's some that are about $1,200 or more off, but here for the Model 3, I'm seeing some for $4,750 off in inventory because it's a demo vehicle. However, this particular demo vehicle only has 34 miles on it. So unless something really happened during those 34 miles, that could be an incredible way to save almost $5,000 on your Tesla vehicle. Tesla also has a lot of demo versions of the Model S and Model X available through inventory, and those come at pretty good discounts that I do expect to increase as we get towards the end of the year. Tesla does somewhat have a pattern here where they increase the amount of discount for inventory and demo vehicles the longer that they're sitting on the lot, so the longer you wait, you could see more deals or they could just disappear. Then we have Tesla's referral program. You definitely want to use someone's referral link when you're buying a Tesla because simply clicking that link will get you $500 off a Model Y or a Model 3. If you're buying a Model S or X, it gets $1,000 off, and now the Cybertruck is added to the referral program as well, and you'll save $1,000 off a Cybertruck purchase by clicking someone's referral link. Now through the end of the year as well, Tesla is offering 3 months of free Supercharging and FSD for all vehicle purchases. So this comes included with every vehicle that Tesla sells, and there's a couple scenarios where this may make a lot of sense for you. For one, if you're planning to road trip shortly after buying your Tesla, it's a great way to save money there. Not only will you save money, but you can experiment with FSD and have it drive a lot of that road trip for you. Then if you always plan to charge away from home, this will save you for about 3 months at the beginning of your ownership. For some, it may seem like a small deal, but 3 months can really add up if you plan to use it. For others, though, it may just be a nice perk that you're getting if you're buying a Tesla already. Then comes reduced lease rates. Tesla just dropped lease rates for the Model Y to $299 per month before gas savings. The reason I mentioned that it's before gas savings is because previously they actually quoted this number, $299 a month, but they were subtracting $100 in gas savings. Now it actually starts at this amount, so you could lease a car at about this amount once you factor in a little bit more for taxes and fees. And then that could drop down to something similar to $199 a month if you save about $100 a month in gas, which you could easily do. Pretty much there's never been a better time to lease a Tesla, and this discount is very steep over what we saw even just earlier this year. Then Tesla is offering the FSD transfer once again. So if you currently own a Tesla and you've been holding on to that full self-driving package, since you'd have to buy it with a new Tesla, they're allowing you to transfer that to your new vehicle purchase. Not only can you transfer this when trading in your car, but you can also just transfer it off of a Tesla that you have. So if there's an older car that you have that has FSD that you do plan to keep, but you want to move that package to your newer car that you're about to buy, you can do that right now through the end of the year. This has returned a number of times, so I don't expect it to completely go away at the end of December, but it will probably go away at least for a small period of time. Then lastly, if you happen to live in Texas and you can get Tesla Electric, they're offering a $5 a month plan for unlimited home charging on your Tesla. That's a very specific crossover incentive that only Tesla can provide. Then Tesla has a military discount available that could qualify for you if you've ever been a part of the military. They say, quote, receive $1,000 off any new Model S, Model 3, Model X, Model Y, and Cybertruck. Offer available to verified military veterans, retirees, active duty members, their spouses, and surviving spouses to honor those who have served our country. For the last few months, a lot of these incentives did not apply to the Cybertruck, but now all of these apply for the Cybertruck. You may even find that there's an inventory vehicle available for the Cybertruck at this point, but right now those are only Foundation Series trucks, so you're actually taking an upcharge there to take your car earlier. Overall, it's a great time to buy a Tesla, and when you really do the math here, you can be buying a car for under $30,000 in some cases. It's really impressive to see what you can get, and you can get an extremely long-range Tesla vehicle for either a very low monthly payment, say something like $200 or $300 a month when you're factoring in some savings, or you could own that car for $35,000 or $30,000. As always, it's great to look into all these incentives, see what you qualify, and see what could happen when you stack all of them all at the same time. Next up today, there's a lot expected for the refreshed Tesla Model Y coming in 2025. However, at the same time, some people may be quite disappointed by what it's not bringing. What we do expect to see with the Model Y Juniper is a very much refreshed exterior design. It's going to have a revised front fascia with slimmer headlights for improved aerodynamics. It will also just make the front look quite a bit different than other years, and some are expecting it to have a full light bar across the front. In the rear, we do expect a full light bar as well, because that has actually leaked in photos with the Tesla lettering across the side. On top of that, the rear license plate's probably going to drop to the bottom, and then this car will likely have new wheel options as well. As for the interior, it's going to have that redesigned dashboard taken from the Model 3 with updated premium materials. It's going to have an ambient lighting system with customizable colors for that LED light bar strip, perforated and ventilated seats that help keep you cool, and then an 8-inch rear touchscreen for passenger entertainment and climate control. The center console will have a noticeable update, and then it will have improved aerodynamics and efficiency, which potentially will increase its range. One additional hardware feature for the exterior is likely the addition of a front-facing camera. This will help for improved parking assistance and could also improve the functionality of full self-driving. All of that sounds great, but under the hood, the Model Y is expected to largely remain the same. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, MagBak. MagBak offers functional, minimalist products that provide elegant tech solutions, including phone cases and MagSafe phone chargers. All Teslas come with a built-in wireless phone charger underneath the center screen, but this isn't always the best, especially if you need to see what's on your phone. MagBak's wireless phone charger, optimized for the Tesla Cybertruck, is sleek, durable, and charges your phone up to 2 times faster than the charger that's built in. It's very easy to install with a USB-C connector that plugs into the center console, placing your phone in the perfect position. This charger works seamlessly with any MagSafe phone case, but their Elite case for iPhone is one of the most versatile phone cases I've ever had. It includes a silicone finger loop for a comfortable, secure hold, a kickstand that can be used in various positions, a nice grip on the sides, and even a pinky cushion on the charge port. Beyond that, their color accent pack makes it fully customizable, and telescoping magnets allow you to mount it to any magnetic surface, even uneven ones. To check out any of MagBak's amazing products for yourself, click the link in the description below. There's one particular rumor that seems to claim the Model Y may bring a 96 kilowatt-hour battery option. That would be a big improvement over what it has now and could extend its range closer to 500 miles. However, every time this has happened, or this has been promised by Tesla, it just does not happen. First, we had the Roadster with a promised 620-mile range. Maybe that's still going to come, but it has not been released yet. Then we have the Plaid Model S Plus. That was promised at the event where they actually talked about this on stage and said it would bring a 520-mile range. That would have been very exciting, but today they never actually released that car, and then the top range of the all-wheel drive Model S is 402 miles. If you go Plaid, it drops below that. Then the Cybertruck was promised with a 500-mile range as well. Of course, we are still absolutely waiting on that. Instead, today you can get an all-wheel drive Cybertruck with a 325-mile range, or you can pay for a $16,000 range extender upgrade that's supposed to come sometime in the future and deliver a 445-mile plus range. So still not delivering that 500-mile range and coming in at way more expensive than promised. I mention this because the Model Y refresh is likely going to be a lot like the Model 3 refresh. Overall, a lot of improvements and a lot of things that make this car much better in the interior and for customer experiences. But the Model 3 retained the same battery, powertrain, and performance, aside from the performance model. So for the Model Y, some are hoping that this is going to bring a lot of big improvements. It will bring a lot of improvements, but not to the things that some people care about the most, like range and charging speed. For some, they want to see the 4680 battery cells from the Cybertruck make their way over to the Model Y. Now, Tesla did actually make a Model Y in the past with 4680 battery cells for a limited time, but it seemed that that really was only a trial of that 4680 technology, and now it's exclusively in the Cybertruck. For the refreshed Model Y, we're not expecting these battery cells to make it at all, and that's because they will keep it the same for cost, scale, and efficiency. That's the name of the game here, and they are always working to get their vehicles to be less expensive, and they definitely need to keep that trend going into the future here. One thing that Tesla recently announced was their V4 charging cabinet, which delivers peak speeds of up to 500 kilowatts on the Cybertruck. That's incredibly impressive, and you would think that the Model Y would want to get that latest technology. However, the Model Y and 3 share the same platform, and they're likely going to keep that into the future here as well, so most do not expect this to make its way to the Model Y, at least not anytime soon. That would require a big upgrade to the Model Y's entire infrastructure, including an 800-volt architecture for high voltage, and likely 48 volts for the low voltage architecture. Those things have been upgraded on the Cybertruck, but bringing those to the Model Y out of 4 different factories, their most popular, most scaled vehicle, would be a costly development that they don't really need to drive sales of this car. Even though for some people they say they will not buy a Tesla until it can charge in 5 minutes or until it gets a 500+ mile range, for average customers, what it delivers today is actually plenty. And the numbers really showcase that here. Yes, Tesla has a lot of incentives that they're doing to drive sales right now, but the Model Y is still selling as it is. So in some ways, this is kind of a big disappointment for customers. Yes, the Model Y is getting this big upgrade and it will clearly distinguish it from previous years, especially clearly distinguish what this car has looked like for the past 4 years. But when it comes to the underlying technology powering it, it will likely stay pretty much the same. For a performance Model Y though, that will likely have a different upgrade, and I'm curious to see if Tesla waits on that one like they did with the Model 3, or if they release all trims of the Model Y upgraded at once. At the same time, there are tons of rumors swirling about what this Model Y Juniper will deliver. I fully expect that this Model Y refresh will just deliver all of these refreshed things and keep pretty much the same trims that we see today. Then in time, Tesla will change that up. But they are expected to release some newer, more affordable models sometime in 2025. And rumors there are that there would be a smaller 5-seater Model Y and potentially an even bigger, longer wheelbase Model Y with 3 rows of seating. But of course, all of that takes time and upgrades to their existing production lines. Even with all of those trims and all of those different adjustments coming to the Model Y, will they upgrade the battery underneath it all? Most likely no. They are very heavily scaled on what they can deliver today, and they will probably keep that going until they really need this upgrade to happen. For most customers, they're not needing to charge up all the time on the road very extremely quickly, and Tesla is always working on ways to optimize that experience for customers. I am of course very excited to see charging times improve in the future and for ranges to get longer, but will that be coming in 2025? It doesn't seem to be the case. At the same time, Tesla is working on reportedly 4 different batteries that they plan to launch sometime in 2026. So they are not standing still. It's just that they're scaled so much further than any other automaker in the United States that they don't really need to or can't really make these sweeping changes all at once. Next up today, Tesla has issued a massive recall. It's affecting 145,000 Tesla vehicles, all of which could lose power while driving and needs to be taken to service. Wait a minute, that's actually not Tesla, that's Hyundai, but it's likely a recall you won't hear about. This is something we often talk about, the difference between a physical and software recall, and how most people are unaware that the majority of Tesla recalls are fixed in this manner. Still, Tesla does face physical recalls, like the Cybertruck's recent one, affecting about 2,400 vehicles. That's an important thing to have fixed, and owners do have to take those vehicles in. For this Cybertruck recall, I pulled up to a Starbucks drive-thru in my Cybertruck and was kindly informed by the employee that my truck just got recalled. On the other side of things, Hyundai has just recalled 145,235 vehicles in the US, quote, citing concerns about loss of driving power. This recall affects select Ioniq 5 and 6 vehicles, as well as the Genesis GV60, GV70, and G80 from years 2022 through 2025. Some reports say Kia vehicles are affected as well, which would make sense. This recall concerns, quote, the integrated charging control units in these vehicles, which may become damaged and fail to charge the 12-volt battery. This malfunction could lead to a complete loss of drive power, posing safety risks for drivers. This recall comes after a similar one affecting 147,110 EVs from Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis back in March. This is a physical recall, so it will require each of these customers to return to dealers for an inspection and a replacement of the charging unit and its fuse if necessary. There will be software updates to the charging unit at the same time as well. Luckily, there have been no injuries or fires reported yet, so this is something to look out for as more details come in. Hopefully this will be sorted shortly so that these vehicles are completely safe, but again, I'd venture to guess you won't be hearing about this one from any strangers. It points to the big difference here where everyone knows that 1.85 million Teslas were recalled, but don't know that the issue was fixed with a software update. Or they know that 2,400 Cybertrucks were recalled, or maybe just assume all of them were, but they don't know that 58 times more Hyundai EV owners have to bring their car in for service. It's always an interesting dichotomy, but recalls do happen across the board for all vehicles. I'm glad to see this one getting sorted out, and hopefully it won't be too much of a pain for current Hyundai EV owners. Next up today, we've spent a lot of time on this channel talking about the historic rise of BYD. They have traded back and forth with Tesla for a while now as the best-selling EV maker. Their EV segment has attracted a ton of attention for their meteoric growth and extremely affordable options. With that said, their competition with Tesla isn't the entire story behind this company. By the end of the year, BYD is poised to overtake Ford when it comes to annual vehicle shipments, making them a top 10 global automaker. According to Bloomberg's analysis, BYD's 534,000 sales in the month of October put them fairly in line with Ford's projected sales for the remainder of the year. The American automaker tends to ship about 1.1 million units in a quarter, which BYD could potentially beat. In Q3 of this year, BYD outsold Ford by 40,000 units, for a total of 1.13 million vehicles. That number was comprised mostly of cars, but with a few thousand trucks and buses as well. The automaker will almost definitely be shipping over 4 million units this year, which is a really huge milestone. This would place them ahead of the first member of the American Big Three automakers, and would be a game changer in the history of the global and Chinese auto markets. It's important to note here that not all of BYD's vehicles are electric. They still sell a number of gas and hybrid models, which is how they are reaching these numbers, but they have made it clear that full electrification is their end goal. That strategy does seem to be working for them. Meanwhile, most Western automakers are really struggling to meet their electrification goals. At the same time, here in the US, we are likely seeing the end of the federal EV tax credit at some point next year, which will only put American automakers even further behind, at least for the time being. We might even see them abandon their EV goals or just push them back a ways, which, while it might save them in the short term, will probably only hurt them in the long run. BYD is growing extremely rapidly, and while they haven't arrived in the US yet, the rest of the world is seemingly their oyster at this point. If they continue this trend, it may not be long before BYD rises to become one of the biggest automakers in the world as a whole. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the truth about Tesla versus that top competitor BYD, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.